Hey everyone! Today we're going to be starting a project that's going to take us a few weeks to complete. We're going to be making some really cute little stuffed animal backpack ornaments or keychains. Whatever you want to use them for is fine. So part of this project might feel a little bit like review or familiar to you, and that's because this is something we started at the end of last year but never got to finish because we all started in that was the spring where we all started working from home and we didn't get to finish these projects. So I felt kind of bad about that because this is a project that a lot of kids come back and tell me they really love and enjoy and keep for a really long time. And sewing, it can be a little intimidating at first for anybody who hasn't sewn, but it's actually really simple, super fun skill that's great just in life. It's just a good thing to know. So we're going to start this project up again. And if you don't remember your design from last year, it's okay. We're going to start from scratch again. So I'm going to show you some images just for inspiration. And then today is part one of the lesson. We're only going to design it. We don't have to start sewing it today. I'm going to be sending home kits for you with felt and sewing supplies. So if you don't have this stuff at home, don't worry. We're not going to be using that until our next full remote kid lesson. So if there's a particular color of felt that you're going to need for your project, just let me know in Seesaw, or you can send me a message on Clever if you forget to do it on Seesaw. Otherwise, I will guess based on whatever colors you use to color in your picture today. And if I'm still not sure, I'll just kind of put in a couple choices for you. All right, let's get started. So the first few examples you're going to see are of some monster designs. I really like using monsters as a theme for this beginning sewing project because the awesome thing about it is there's no one right way for a monster to look. So if you make a little mistake here and there and it gets a little wonky looking, it's just going to kind of add to the cuteness of the monster. Another option is to start with a really simple shape like a circle or a heart and then add details to it to turn it into something else. So we see these little bears starting with a circle. You could also turn a circle into like an emoji, or you could do even like a really simple type of food, like a slice of pizza would be a nice simple triangular shape. So think of a design that really uses really simple shapes. And I'll give you more details now when I do the example drawing. Okay, so you're just going to use a regular piece of paper. You don't want to use a thick piece of paper because we're going to end up cutting out our design so that we can use it as a template on the felt. So regular paper is fine. We want to fold this so that we know exactly how big to do our drawing. You don't want to do your drawing too big because then it's not going to fit on the felt that I give you later on. I've already pre-cut that felt, so I'm just going to send you the felt the size that I have it. So your drawing has to be the right size. So what you're going to do is fold your paper in half like a book. And just turn it, fold it in half again like a book. And this quarter is how big you should be making your drawing. You don't want to make it too tiny because then it's actually going to be a little too hard to sew something that's really small. So you want to make it as big as this folded piece. And the great thing is if you mess up on one, you have other opportunities, other rectangles, so you can draw it in. If you want something a certain shape, it might be good to find something around the house that you can trace. Like for example, if you plan on making an emoji face, you might want to find something round that will fit right in that's not too big or too small. So it might take a little bit of looking to find the right size. And of course, you can always freehand draw it if you can't find something to trace. I'm going to show you how to draw a monster because the monsters are a little more complex than an emoji face. They have more to their body than just a circle. And I want to show you it's important that you make, if you have something with arms and legs or anything, it's important to make them a certain thickness so that you can put stuffing in it later because we're going to be making this almost like a little pillow. It's going to have a front and a back and we're going to put stuffing in it to make it puffy. So we don't want it to have, well, I'll show you what not to do and what you should do. So one thing you should do is start with the body is kind of a really big basic shape. So for a monster, you can think of that as maybe an oval or a rectangle. So that's almost as big as your rectangle here. Maybe just leave an inch or so on the top and bottom so that you have room for arms and legs and whatever you want. So I'm going to make some guidelines. So I'm just going to make a guideline on either side, leaving a little space for just some tiny little hands, and then a guideline at the top. I know I'm not going to want any any added details up here, so I'm putting it pretty close to the top. And now I'm just going to round the corners. It's also a little bit easier to put stuffing in something that's rounded than something that has a sharp corner. So for example, the feet right now, I'll do those. So they're going to come all the way down, and there's going to be up here like a little division between the two legs, and then one leg and then the other leg. So it looks kind of blocky right now. I'm going to finish the foot. And I'm not going to do anything like a round toe or anything, because that, like if I put like a little toe like that, that would be impossible to put stuffing in. If you want to make it a little bit easier, and I think this looks a little bit cuter, round your corners a little bit. Makes it easier when you put the stuffing in. I'm sorry, I realized how hard it was to just see that all on camera, so I've switched over to Sharpie and traced what I did so you could really see. So that's what I meant by rounded corners. And same thing with the arms. I'm going to do thick rounded arms. So when I say thick, I mean like thicker than your thumb, like pretty thick. So an example of that would be like that for an arm. So really tiny, cute, little stubby, thick arms, because you really want to be able to put stuffing in them to make them pop out. And then the details are entirely up to you. I don't know if you remember our Class Dojo monsters from last year, but some of them had lots of eyes, or some had just one. It's like different expressions. We'll make this guy look a little bored. Maybe we'll make him, oh, he looks a little evil now if I make him smile. All right, I'll make him a little goofy. I'll give him a tooth and maybe an eyebrow. All right, so you can have a lot of fun with those. Now I just want to show you what not to do. So what you don't want to do is make something that's kind of multiple shapes. So this is really, it's a complex shape, but it's really kind of one solid thing. So when you cut this out of felt, you're really just going to be using one color of felt to cut out the main body, and then adding details to it with other colors of felt. What you don't want to do is have something like, say something with like a head, a neck, and then a body, and then lots of like skinny things coming off like that. Okay. Here's a different type of monster. Okay, I think this is actually pretty cute, but you can't do this because it's going to be really complicated to cut this out. You're probably going to want something like this to be a few different colors, and then it gets way harder for me to give you everything that you need. And then also, like, it's really impossible almost to put stuffing like in between something like a neck or in something like really skinny areas. So if you like something like that, just adjust your design a little bit. Like, so for example, these arms, I'm just going to make them thicker. Okay. And these legs, I'll make those thicker. Okay. And where the neck is, if I just kind of connect it like that, I can do something more like that shape. Okay. All right. And then if you choose to do something that has accessories to it, let's talk about that. So let's see. So now I'll do, let's do a heart face. I want it as wide. You notice I changed the orientation of my page. So instead of the tall way, I'm holding the rectangle the wide way for something like a heart. And okay, so let's say I do that, and then I wanted it to have like a bow or something coming off here. Oops. Anyway, you get the point. The main part that I'm going to be cutting out is the heart shape. And then later on, I'm going to be adding the bow on. So you can go ahead and color this in, and that will help me know exactly what colors you're going to want for your felt. If you don't color it in, I'll just have to guess. If you color it in and then change your mind, you don't have to totally redo it. Just let me know. I colored it in green, but I really wanted it to be blue. And I will give you the correct felt colors. And then I will tell you about part 2 next time. So I can't wait to see your designs. Bye, everyone.